morning, everyone. Wow, what a crowd. It's always a wild card when I do talks in the morning in Las Vegas to see who actually shows up. We're called Delivering Happiness. We call ourselves DH, but oftentimes in Vegas, they consider us delivering hangovers. So hopefully that's not the case today. It's a real pleasure and honor to be here today for many, many reasons. I guess when I got the email that basically the invite to speak with you today, I got really excited and nostalgic, actually. For some reason, these Polaroid pictures started flipping through my head of when I was about 4 or 5 with my 2 older brothers, my mom and my dad, sitting outside of a McDonald's with a Happy Meal, cheeseburger in one hand, French fry in the other. You couldn't describe the look of happiness any better than that expression. And it made me think and sort of contemplate what is it that we're doing here today, all the things that you've been talking about so far, because in some ways it's not, as we know, it's not about selling another burger, it's not selling another French fry. There's something more meaningful than that. For me, it was those memories that I'll never forget, those experiences of being with my family and remembering back to those specific moments. And it's interesting to now reflect because in some ways, McDonald's kind of knew from the beginning that it wasn't about selling that extra burger. It's about something more. It's about the customer. But even more so, and more the data shows these days, it's about more than that. It's not just about the customer, it's about the employee. So that we know that you have happier employees, you have happier customers, and in the end, you'll actually have a more successful and sustainable business. At the same time, you're creating meaningful lives. So after all this happy talk and happy thoughts in my head, I naturally felt there was something I needed to do. I needed to get a Happy Meal, because it's been a while. So I went and picked up my goddaughter, who just turned 1 year old last week, and brought her to have her first Happy Meal. And so this was the test phase to see how she would react. And then she kind of went for it. This was her first bite of a French fry ever. And needless to say, you have a very satisfied customer for life. You're welcome. So, coming back to where we are today, I'd just like to actually take a quick poll. Everyone in the room, how many of you heard of Zappos.com? Okay, sweet, wow, awesome, thank you. And then how many in the room have heard of Delivering Happiness? This was first a book that Tony Hsieh, the CEO, and I worked on, came out a few years ago, and now it's own company. Show of hands. Awesome, thank you. And then how many people in the room feel that you personally know how to predict your own long-term sustainable happiness in life? Raise the hands. All right, okay, great. Thank you for that. I ask that question everywhere I go now, and I travel the world talking about happiness. And what's so interesting, and this is about average, every country, every city I go to, it's always the same. Only 1 to 5% of the room raises their hand. Actually, I was in Beijing about a year ago, and now I can officially say only 0 to 5% of the room raises their hand. And I have to wonder because we are so lucky to be living at this time. I mean, all these sort of sacrifices that ancestors made to get us to where we are today, yet why are we as a global society still unhappy? I mean, it's in our Declaration of Independence, the pursuit of happiness, and it's not a new concept by any means. There's a dude by the name of Aristotle back in 200 AD who said, happiness is actually the purpose of our existence. And more interestingly, he said, happiness is dependent on ourselves. So why is this the case? We have to wonder. And so it begs the question, what does it really mean? Because now we know more than ever, we can actually all live sustainably happy lives. And the biggest question now is how? So I wanted to bring up some real-world examples first. We've got Renee in the top right-hand corner. She just received her financial statement from Merrill Lynch. She had thought saving for that 401k would pay off in dividends, but unfortunately, this was not the case. We've got Stella on the right-hand corner there on the bottom. She's just kind of upset because her mom won't upgrade her phone. But seriously though, this question goes back to everyone in this room. What are your own personal goals in life? And what's interesting about this question is that no matter who you ask or how you answer it, I want to raise a family, I want to be healthier, I want a successful store, I want a successful team. No matter how you answer it, if you ask how and why enough times, it usually comes back to the same thing. I want to be happy, or I want to make sure the people in my life that I love are happy too. But what's interesting is that, and we talk about happiness, I talk about the science of happiness, this is actual data. The research shows that we as human beings are hardwired to seek happiness, yet fundamentally we're really, really bad at predicting it, as the first question I asked earlier on about predicting happiness. And so we see it in studies now of lottery winners. We go, oh yeah, a lottery winner, of course that person will be happy, but now we know their happiness level stays the same or actually peters down over time.